Hey everyone, Clay from Brooklyn, Football with the Fellas, all about Big Blue. Here with the beginning of my look ahead to the 2026 draft as far as some of the players I want to focus on. There's a lot of obvious choices for the number five overall pick. There's people like Caleb Downs, there's people like Mansour Delane, cornerback from LSU, who you know I love. There's people like offensive lineman Spencer Fano from Utah and Francis Marinoa from Miami. And of course, there's the wide receivers that Mazo loves, uh, Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate, and Makai Lemon being probably the top three rated wide receivers. And I ain't gonna be mad at you if you pick any of those, Mr. Harbaugh and Mr. Shane. Those are going to be very good football players. I think the key to the draft, though, is the second round, or at least the second pick that we make, which may or may not be in the second round, right? If we trade down and get two firsts, whatever. But the second pick is really key. If we don't make any trades, we only have two picks in the top 103. Uh, that's a little disappointing. Those of you who remember the 2019 draft, when we traded up to get DeAndre Baker in the third round, DeAndre Baker, still having PTSD over him. The next pick we made after that 30th pick in the first round was O'Shane Ximenez at the back end of the third round. We literally sat out 2 rounds worth of picks. All kinds of great players were coming off the board, and it was driving me batty. And so I don't want to see a repeat of that. I don't want to have to sit there from, pick number 38, because we have the 37th pick, to, pick number 104, not picking anybody. That's way too long. That's even longer than 2019. So I actually do hope we make some type of trades, either trading one of our veterans or more than one, as I've said before, to acquire a second round pick and or a third round pick, or if we just trade down with pick number five and pick up a second round pick and or third round pick. I just think that's way too long to go with no picks. But as of now, that's what we have, and that's what we're dealing with. So we'll have two picks in the first 2 rounds, the first 37 picks, and then we sit out until round four. So that second pick is very key. Uh, that might be the only other like pretty much locked in starter that we get out of the draft, those first two picks. So one of the people that I want to look at, who I think might be, or at least he was, flying under the radar until Senior Bowl week, is the right tackle from Arizona State, Max Iheanacho. I hope I'm saying his name right. I'm just going to call him Max I from now on, but it's spelled Iheanachor. So those of you who either are from Nigeria and or just know how to say that name, please feel free to correct me. But I'm going to say Max I for the time being. So Max I showed out at Senior Bowl week, and we're going to take a little bit of a look at that now. Um, so here's my first draft question that we're going to talk about, and the upside, the skinny is that he's raw. Like he just started playing football like Tuesday, so to speak. He came here from Nigeria in middle school, was a basketball and soccer player initially. And someone saw him. I think the story I heard is that his AAU basketball coach said, you're pretty good in basketball, but you could be great in football. And literally started kind of planting that seed in his head. And fast forward a couple of years, he played a year at community college out in California, if I remember correctly, and then went on to Arizona State. Was initially kind of thrown to the wolves at Arizona State because of a rash of injuries. He got in sooner than they expected him to, but in 2023 showed enough potential where they stuck with him. 2024, he played very well as the starter, and then this year just broke out. Anyway, he didn't even play high school football. He just a huge man, great athlete, and is learning on the fly. So, like Marcus Bowe, I think he's going to need a year of coaching and maybe even a little bit of bulking up, although he is an enormous man, but certainly working on his technique a little bit more. But by year two, he could be the next Jordan Mailata. The Eagles found another huge man who hadn't played much football before and turned him into a Pro Bowl left tackle. I would love to see us do something like that. Okay, so here's a very nice pass pro rep from Senior Bowl practice week. Here he is against someone who I don't really know, but look at his footwork, look at his hand placement, look at the motor. Like he's not having it. And, there was a lot of little chippiness there uh, at these one-on-one reps this week. And Max I was involved in a lot of that chippiness. But there you go. He's just like, no, you're not going any further than this. Get back in the huddle. Here's another one. And again, the anchor, the footwork, the hand placement. he, he, I stopped it a little too soon. He gave this guy a glare as he moved back past him because of that little last shove that he gave Max. Max was like, yo, I told you I ain't having it. That right there. And Max was like, really? And then here's my favorite one. Max I, as in I ain't having it. This is perhaps the chippiest they got against Derek Moore, a solid prospect. Again, look at the footwork, look at the mirroring, look at the hand placement. And now watch Derek Moore throw a punch, and Max is like, what? And just jabs him in the face. He's like, I am not having it. You're not disrespecting me. And punches him in the face. Punches him back. Derek Moore punched Max first. Look at that rep again. The mirroring, the footwork, chopping the feet, hand placement. Derek Moore throws a punch, and Max throws one right back. I love it. The boy's not having it. Now, this is from the actual game. Here's some plays from the actual game. He's at right tackle. That was pretty quick. Let me just run that back again. That's him at right tackle, just saying, nope, nope, you're not getting any further than that. Not a huge play, but just an example of him in pass pro. Here he is again. Again, this is him at right tackle, the yellow helmet, number 58. And again, that's that just push the man up the field thing. And now watch, there he is. There he comes at the very end to do the little tush push kind of thing. Let's watch this rep again. So here he is, just pushing his man up the field away from the play, right? Because this is a draw play, right? This is already, the ball's already handed off. The ball was handed off here. So he's pushing you upfield. And he could just be okay with that, but watch him plant his feet and say, no, I can do more. So now he trails the play, right? This is him trailing the running back. And as the running back gets hit, you see this yellow line, obviously he's not on the field, it's on the TV screen. This is the first down line. He's hit, a solid 2 yards behind the first down marker. That's an 8-yard run. And Max comes up and says, no, let's get another yard or two, and throws my man forward. Love it. Love it. Always moving, always looking for work, and ready to hit somebody. All right. Again, number 58 at right tackle. And again, this is, just doing your job well. Right? Right tackle comes down on the double team block. I really like the way he was doing double team blocks this week in the game. This is, again, a right guard he has not played with before until this week and maybe until this game. So to be able to do that well is impressive, again, for a guy who hasn't played much football. Here's another view, by the way, of that. This is him throwing the man to the floor and then saying, no, I ain't through. Love that. I love the pancake and then falling on top of him as well. He's like, no, I wasn't through with you. So that little nasty streak, I love that in offensive lineman. Get down on the floor and stay there. I said, love it. And here he is, right tackle, number 58. Just just moving bodies. And we could use some of that, right? We could use some offensive linemen that just come and move bodies and just say, come with me. We're going to go for a little ride here. No, I'm not going to charge you, but I'm going to take you for a ride. Now, this one I really like. Third and short, they got him pulling on the sweep and getting out in front of the blocker to pick up the first down. Now, that's not an amazing block, but that defensive back might have come up to try to make that tackle to stop him short of the first down if he didn't see number 58 coming. And so instead, first down. Love that. And I love the ability for a man, 6'5", 325, 330 to get out and pull on a sweep. And here he does it again. Again, he didn't even have to hit anybody there for this touchdown. He just his presence got out there quick enough, got in people's way. That linebacker was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a business decision. The draft is coming up. I don't want to be injured and miss the draft. Maybe I don't have to take on number 58 head on. So again, this is just a guy who I think, here he is again in pass pro, the pancake, who I think, I should have put this one before. This was the play before the touchdown. I think his athleticism, his size, his meanness, in a good way, is going to translate into something really good. And with some coaching, he's going to be a beast. So I see him as a round two pick, and I would be fine with him at number 37 overall. He's got way too much upside and athleticism and good traits to last past the second round. So I don't see him being there. Not that we have a third round pick currently, but if we trade down, excuse me, for a third round pick or up, uh, I don't think he'll still be on the board. And by year two, I think he's going to be a beast for someone, and I hope it's us. So that's what I think. That's my first draft crush analysis right now with Max I. And I'd love to know what you guys think about Max I and about my thoughts on Max I. There's lots of people who posted highlights of him throughout the season. Shout out to them. So if you just Google Max Iheanacho highlights, you're going to come up with a lot of things that are going to be very impressive. Watch the Texas Tech game. Texas Tech had a really good defense this year, and Max wasn't having it. Shut them down most of the game. He lost a couple of reps, or stalemated a couple of reps, but for the most part, was like, yo, not here, not today, no sir. Love that about him. But again, I want to know what you think. That's what I think. Clay from Brooklyn, football with the fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Drop us a like, share, and comment, and I'm out.